Hello, everyone! Hello, 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 hello! It is I, your lovable host, Zarataro, here with Yo! You Like That? The talk show where I bring in awesome, incredible, amazing streaming guests and we talk about something that they love, something that's fun and awesome and that's super enjoyable with everyone around. And y'all should definitely enjoy it because it is great, and that is why we are here, to share things great. So be shared! Be shared with greatness. That is the rule. The rule of this land, this little forest setup where I have this couch. We have an amazing guest here today. Let me go ahead and bring them in. Ba 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 ba. Dreamkeeper Lumina. Hello. Oh no. Hold on. Do it again.
Oh, was my son?
Okay, yep, you're good. No,
I'm
sorry.
good,
For
I'm
some
good,
reason,
okay. No
for some
worries.
reason, like the mute didn't just mute you; it just brought you down to like 0 decibel, like -70. I'm like, no.
No worries,
but
no
but
worries.
you're good. They should hear you now.
All right,
But hello,
hello,
how are you
hello.
doing
I'm
today?
doing fairly well. I hope you are as well as all of you attending. I am Dreamkeeper Lumina. You can call me Lumina or Lumi. I am a Dreamkeeper, VTuber. I fight nightmares in the dreamscape at night. And otherwise, I try to bring a little bit of joy to the dreamers in the waking worlds so we can have fun and smile and go on adventures together.
Oh, fighting nightmares. I bet you have to fight a lot of pink hippos.
Oh my goodness, there are some things that are pretty crazy.
Well, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Thank you so much. I am very blessed, and you picked an awesome topic, which I am excited to share with everyone here today.
I
Let
am
me bring it up
too.
with ba 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 ba. We're gonna be talking about fairy tales.
Yes, I'm so excited about that because I am big on all sorts of obviously fairy tales, lore, fantasy stories. I love all those sort of things, and I also really love video games and kind of being able to go on an adventure based on all these fun, cool stories and be a part of it.
Heck yeah. Let's see. Well, maybe we should go ahead and kind of break it down. And this is going to be kind of like I want to say maybe like a vague idea description, but like, what would you say like fairy tales are? Like how would you like explain it or describe what it is to someone?
Honestly, a really good question. I sort of think that like fairy tales are these wondrous stories that could either be based on, ancient legends, or sometimes people just, write them and yeah, kind of create these magical stories or legends for us to either, in some cultures, it's warnings or teachings and stuff like that, and others, it's just for like entertainment, or perhaps some of them even teach a lesson, you know, of like what is important to you and such like that. Like the Little Mermaid, the real version, not the Disney version, was actually much darker and sadder, and it kind of had like a lesson in the end that you needed to kind of appreciate what you have in some senses and see that you have many people around that love you, which was kind of, sad ending, sad ending. She turned to bubbles in the end, but
She turned to stone.
it was so sad. But like she had the love of her family that tried to support her, and it was like, wow, that's kind of sad, but it also like makes you think, like in that situation, you get all mixed up and you're like, what my heart wants, what my mind wants, and it's interesting to learn those sort of lessons, from stories like that. It's like you get to experience learning these things and going on that adventure with them. And with reading, of course, it's wonderful, but with video games, you actually get to do it.
Right. And it didn't like occur to me now until you just said that. But yeah, like the Little Mermaid is basically a girl running away from home to go live with a guy that she met once, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh my god! If you think about it like that, it's like what? Oh man, but yeah, no, they're very like fanciful, uh, fiction, but like you said, they like inspire like lessons and hope and
Yeah.
like ideas and like
Sometimes even like,
magical like
yeah, sometimes even warnings though. Some of them are quite spooky, and some horror
like
games
Humpty
are based.
Dumpty.
Yeah, and some horror games are based on that too. Like a lot of horror games are based on like urban myths and fairy tales. Things that make you kind of feel like think a little deeper about it. Be like, that's actually based on like a legend that was told a long time ago. Like it spooks you a little more, using a little bit of reference material there rather than just some stuff there.
Is creepy pasta the fairy tales of the 1990-2000 generation?
But like a lot
We
of
won't think about it too hard.
like if you think about it, like a lot of video games use stuff like banshees or like Greek gods and stuff, and in their themes, in their stories, and take
Yeah,
inspiration
yeah,
from that sort of
griffins
thing. Hmm.
and the manticore. Yeah,
I mean, even a
I was about to say the
unicorn,
Babadook. I meant the Balrog.
they're all like legends and interesting things that they're like, you know what? I think this would fit in a really cool interactive experience.
Heck yeah! Oh man. So, what would you say is probably, if you can remember, if not, just probably the closest one you think of, what was probably the first fairy tale you ever heard?
Wow. I read so much when I was younger. Hmm. Oh my goodness. What did
I'll go ahead and say mine if you want to think about it.
Yeah.
The first one that I can ever remember was The Emperor's New Clothes, and it's crazy because I never really hear that much about it nowadays. But that was always one of my favorite fairy tales growing up.
Well, I don't know if like it was entirely like a fairy tale, but I really liked the Last Unicorn movie, and it was
Yeah,
like
Last
really
Unicorn is a good
detailed.
movie.
Yeah, and it had like a lot of bases on a lot of like fantasies and legends in it, like a lot of inspiration. So it was just like my favorite one. I'd watch it
Yeah, no,
over and
that's a
over and
good one.
over.
I've never like seen the book, but I've heard that the book is also very pretty.
Oh yeah, I actually have never read the book. I might have to look into trying to do that someday. See if the experience is a little different.
There you go. The So what are maybe like some of the aspects of fairy tales that you find like the most enjoyable?
Like the way that you can escape reality for a bit and just be caught up in these fantastical adventures and interesting things that you wouldn't see in day-to-day life, and it's just fun to kind of get lost in these journeys, in these worlds, in these stories. And I just find that like the most magical thing.
Yeah, no, it always I was gonna say like the crazy like adventure journey always like brings initially it'll bring me to like Alice in Wonderland. It's like all the different like areas and like characters she meets. It's like such like an out of this world experience.
And that's honestly a great example for sure.
Good times, good times. So much drugs. That's
Goodness, well,
This one makes you big. This one makes you small. Stop giving the girl uppers and downers.
you're not wrong. Honestly, if you think too deeply into a lot of fairy tales, they're pretty concerning, but
Oh yeah, Hansel and Gretel. Yo, it's like no,
yes,
no,
the
no,
last
no.
unicorn.
We forgives too many Alice
Oh,
applications.
I,
Look, as
I
long
like
as we don't have to do,
Alice
as long
Return
as
to
we don't have to
Madness.
do
I'm
Alice in
weak.
Wonderland,
I'm weak.
in Kingdom Hearts ever again, it'll be okay.
I like Alice
If I
Return
have
to
to do
Madness
Alice in
though.
Wonderland one more time. Oh yeah, no, McFarlane.
That was just like
Wait,
such a good twist on
not,
it.
not McFarlane. What is the name? Alice. What is that guy's name?
It does the spooky ones.
American McGee.
Yes,
American
yes,
McGee.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Alice Return to Madness.
Yes,
Definitely.
American McGee is that is a trippy universe.
Yeah, it's
I was
so
kind of
fun
I
though.
was kind of hoping Epic Mickey was going to be a bit more like that. And
Aw.
apparently, the original creator kind of wanted it to, but
Mhm.
Disney said no.
Aw, boo, boo.
But there's a lot of concept art out there that is super cool.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Don't Starve. Don't Starve also does have very big fairy tale feels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, no, but you're right. Like the whole like fantasy, like kind of like craziness of the world, really does like adapt itself well to video games. Like it lets you like bring in so many different like scenarios, so many different worlds, and so many different creatures and characters.
Yeah, it's just, as I said, it's like living a story, which I think is just a fantastic, just as I said, magical. I don't really know another way to put it. Like putting these interesting stories and stuff, and a lot of it, was just originally inspired by, how can we tell this story better, you know, instead of just the other medias of like videos and writing, deciding to put it into a game, and all the work that must go into the details and thoughts of how these characters or creatures act, or how that world would function, and you get to step into that, and it's like, whoa.
Right? Oh man, it's not just like even like just like the like Germanic like fairy tales too. You've got like Princess Kaguya
Yes,
over in
yes.
Japan, or
Okami. Okami's a good one.
Okami is a good one. Yes,
Yes,
with the
yes, yes.
Hydra.
Heck, even the Tears of the
Uh,
Kingdom is kind of like inspired by a medieval type things, swordsman riding on a horse, and those sort of things. Like there's small references to these sort of things everywhere, and it's actually really cool. You can catch just little ones here and there and be like, oh, I know what it got inspired from.
yeah, like Persona 4 being based off the Izanagi story,
Mm-hmm.
the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Like, it's centered around like an actual war, but like they're all like fanciful like stories of like these generals of noble battles and great deeds, very similar to like the stories of like the gods, like Thor and
Yeah.
Heimdall and Odin.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like even my goodness, why am I like flaking on the name? Like God of War. Something yeah,
Kratos.
yeah, that was heavily based on that type of
That's the Greek gods, if I remember right.
yes, yes.
Zeus, uh, Poseidon,
Mm,
Hades,
mm, mm.
and then it also had the Titans too, like Gaia and everyone.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God of War is wild.
Yeah. They have a lot. They have a lot for sure. I'm trying to think of like other recent ones that I might have played that were kind of inspired by something like that.
Have you played the Wolf Among Us based off the Fables
No, I
line?
haven't, but I absolutely want to give it a try sometime. I guess right
Episode
now it's
two should be coming out soonish, I think.
Ooh.
It's definitely worth a play.
Mm.
It was still early Telltale, like it was like right after they did The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
So they were really trying really hard with their
Yeah,
storytelling, and it is
yeah.
fantastic.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like right now, I guess the most fairy tale-ish linked game I'm playing is Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah,
That's a very good example of
Disney.
so many variations of fairy tales all stuffed in there, along with your own little magical adventure.
I was gonna say Disney knew what they were doing when they were like, man, we need a whole bunch of ideas. Well, I've got this book of fairy tales.
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah,
like make a
yeah.
million
They
bajillion dollars off of
literally
these.
they pretty much brought a lot of the fairy tales into the modern view, which was actually kind of cool. Like yes, they softened them a little. They softened them a lot. I'll be brutally honest, they softened them a lot, but it's still like a fun rendition, and it's interesting to see like taking inspiration and creating something further from that, and I think that's really cool.
It is, and then they make a live action one, and then you're like, why?
Go, the first one was best. Don't. Where's the back button? Where's the back button? You.
Undo. I was gonna say there's a problem with it being public domain, is that Disney can remake it as many times as they want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man, the movies taking in from fantasy is also fantastic. Shrek will live on forever,
Yes.
just being like such a
Shrek is
solid like
immortal.
parody, but also just like fantastic movie using all that fantasy
Yeah,
stuff.
didn't they say they were trying to like remake it? I was like, don't touch it. Don't
I
touch it. Don't touch it.
I want to say if they do reboot Shrek, then I want to say they'll probably be very self-aware that it is a reboot.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what they do, but I don't need it. I don't need another Shrek. I
Yeah.
was fine after Shrek 2. I tolerated Shrek 3, which is more than I can say for Lion King 1/2.
Oh yeah, the Tail of Bamboo Cutter. Yeah, that's actually another one studio I really like that brings a lot of fairy tales forward too is Studio Ghibli. Yeah,
Yes.
they're
Oh
they're
man.
just they're like I love how they like My Neighbor Totoro is one of my absolute favorites, and I love like the like references to the ancient folklore and legends that they have in Japan and everything. And I thought that was like a really cool getting to see another like another part of the world's like fairy tales and legends like in in a
Yeah.
media form, and I thought that was really cool. And they've even made a few games now too. I actually really liked
Nino Kuni
Kuni.
very
Ni no Kuni.
yeah, Nino Kuni very feels much like a fairy
Yes,
tale
yes.
slash Ghibli.
Absolutely. It was like my number one thought is like Yeah, that absolutely. I really like the second one for sure. That one was like my favorite.
It's a lot simpler gameplay. The first one kind of goes a little nuts with all the extra mechanics.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's kind of Pokemon, but it's kind of an RPG, but it's kind of a strategy game, but it's kind
Mm,
of an exploring game.
yeah, yeah.
I'm running out of my brain. I'm out of space.
Me.
How do I talk to people? I already forgot.
I only have so much room in there, please. I know it seems pretty empty, but trust me, it's a finite space and there's a limited amount of information that can fit.
I need a concise, please. Please. Ooh, colors. And then
Actually,
my
just
brain
really
resets
liked
again.
though in Ni no Kuni 2 that you actually got to like build up a kingdom and everything, and I thought that was like a really cool concept to get to experience, like world building like that of what you're doing making that much of a difference. I thought that was really cool. And I hope to see more games
Yeah.
doing that, where you interact and it like permanently changes something.
Have you ever played Dark Cloud?
I think I had when I was very young. I think I remember being very frustrated at it.
It does have a lot of mechanics that are very frustrating, but it does have a really fun like town building mechanic, and it feels a lot like a fairy tale where an evil genie has like warped away the world into darkness, and a little like fairy chooses a boy, and he has to go on an adventure and teams up with like three misfits, and they go and save the world. Bada
Hmm.
boom, bada bing. Problem is, you just have to go through like dungeons and starve and dehydrate, and
Yeah.
I don't like that part, but I like the building the town part.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
give me more of
yeah.
that, please.
Yeah, I'm big into games that let you build things. I find it so fun to get to interact with the worlds that have been made.
Yeah, I've been messing around with Dragon Quest Builders. It's like it's got that Minecraft esque feel, but it's a lot more like
Yeah, yeah,
RPG
I've heard of
story
that.
focused.
I've
So
heard
I'm
of that.
a lot more like focused on it, I
Yeah,
guess.
like more how to say it? Like more of a sense of progression, kind of. And
Yes,
sometimes
progression,
like you want
direction.
that.
Yes.
Sometimes you want that feeling. Like sometimes it's nice to have a world to just explore and enjoy, but other times, you want to have something that you can just kind of, you know.
Oh, Journey. Yes, Journey and Flower, both by the game company, are also very good games that are kind of like fairy tales.
Ooh, I'll have to look
Um,
into that. Thank you for that suggestion.
Oh, the Journey is like a very just like surreal experience, and Flower is also just like a fun, just kind of like Flower feels like one of those Pixar movies that's before a bigger Pixar movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is completely fair. That is completely fair. Oh, one sec.
There's something else I was thinking of, but then my brain went sideways. Was it a game? Was it a movie? Was it a thing? It's probably a thing. Things are what we're talking about.
Things are what we're talking about. Indeed, indeed, we are. Let me just sit up a little better here. Okay, there we go.
The thought has been lost, but that's okay.
No, sometimes it escapes. Sometimes it escapes. For sure, for sure.
Lately, anime has been getting a lot of influx of fantasy stuff now too.
Yeah, I've been
What with
seeing
like
a lot of that.
Ruby is like a big like inspiration. Like Montium definitely
Mm-hmm.
had a flow going there. It took me a while to realize that there were so many uh, fairy tale like references, especially like the Wizard of Oz is
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
big thing in that.
It is. It is. It's you see it everywhere in media, like not just games. It's just all these stories, especially these timeless, like classics and legends and folklores. They stick around and they continue to inspire people more and more to make more versions or even make new versions, which is actually like really interesting. Yes, some of them are a little not to everyone's taste, but it's still cool to see what creativity that these like stories can spark out of people.
Right, so good. Do you prefer like the more soft pastel kind of fairy tale, or do you prefer kind of the more like ink darker style?
I'm I'm a very, despite the soft appearance, I am quite a diverse enjoyer of media. Like I play some hard horror games or some cozy farm games, or epic adventures like Zelda and stuff like that. And I
Mhm.
honestly just love experiencing all the different kinds. So I don't really have like a favorite. I like experiencing all the angles.
Yeah,
Like
no,
maybe
most
it's dark and
definitely.
spoopy, or maybe it's a sweet fluffy thing, or maybe it's something that makes me cry my eyes out because I admit I'm a big crybaby. I'm a big softie.
I I'm a big cry ham too. Whenever a character is like hurt or dies, I'm like, no, no, yeah, I liked you. You are one of the good ones.
You are one of the good ones. Yes. That's exactly it.
Uh, there was. Oh, come on, brain. I had the thought. Oh, have you played any of like the Vanillaware games, like Odin Sphere or Grim Grimoire?
No, I actually haven't. I haven't heard of those ones. I'm
Oh,
gonna have to
you
look
should take a
into a
look at them
lot of things.
sometime.
It seems.
Like they are basically just like fairy tales, but the art Vanillaware has like the most beautiful art of like any video game
Oh yeah.
company ever. Like they put in the time. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's very like water brush, but it flows so smoothly. Vanillaware is so good. I love them so much.
That is so fun. You know, something I thought about too is like with all these stories that and video games, they're also starting to bring a lot of them into VR too, as well. And that's just even getting more interactive with these stories, and they're just going further and further that you can just enter these worlds, and it's like, whoa, like it's crazy. Just like even only like 30, 50 years ago, this wouldn't have been thought like possible to do these sort of things, and here we are able to interact with these stories not just through like normal games but VR, and of course there's all the videos and stuff too, but it's gotten kind of like whoa, like if you want to
Right?
experience an adventure you do not have to look far, which is kind of cool.
Technology has advanced so fast.
Yes.
It's almost kind of crazy how like a lot of the fairy tales have kind of been in a time where there wasn't that much technology.
That's very
So I'm
true.
very curious if like in like maybe like 100 or 200 years from
Oh
now,
yeah,
if
that's
the fairy tales of that will be have like our level of technology
yeah.
as like such like an old time.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good angle to think about. That honestly, like I wouldn't have thought of that. But it's
Wait, unless that's just Black Mirror.
yeah,
Is
no
Black Mirror
no.
fairy tales for the future? Oh
Oh
no!
no. Honestly, Black Mirror was so thought provoking. It was a enjoyable series to me. Very
It's pretty
interesting.
wild. I
Yeah.
haven't I haven't watched like a lot of it, but the few I've watched are like
I just love
okay.
those thought provoking stories. Like actually speaking of fairy tales, I was actually watching this series on I think it was on Disney Plus, but it's called Siren, and it was like a kind of modern day if mermaids existed and were kind of like more feral creatures and stuff like that. And it was actually really
Was that the one
interesting.
where the Krakens are the good guys?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. No, that's a movie that's coming out. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it was just very interesting because mermaids are like a common folklore and fairy tale, and they really modernized it, which I don't see too often with fairy tales. A lot of them is just kind of remakes of, in the same time, but, with your own twists on it and stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see them putting a little more of a modern spin on something like that.
Yeah. I was gonna say we get our Rapunzel still in medieval times. We
Yeah,
get our Cinderella
exactly.
still in medieval times.
Exactly. Like, they're still in the same time, so it's kind of cool to see like a little bit of a change once in a while that way. And I was like, you know what? I'm interested in this. Let me look into this.
Probably the closest I can think of like a modern, quote unquote, modern take of a fantasy is like the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet, where their swords are guns with just
Yeah.
like sword inscribbled on them. So yeah, this is modern. I'm like, yeah, it's modern if you're like, 340. Ah.
Yep.
Well, I guess we don't really need like the most modern stuff nowadays. No, I do want the most modern stuff nowadays. Come on, let's get a modern Bambi.
Oh my gosh.
Where Bambi has to like fight against the hunter litigiously.
Poor baby.
And then it becomes a law drama where
Uh,
Bambi has to like get like go and like research a whole bunch of case law.
it's like,
and then,
yeah, they're like, we're gonna make dark Bambi, and it's like, but Bambi was already kind of dark, to be honest.
oh, My favorite version of that is SNL did like a Fast and the Furious Bambi starring Dwayne Johnson and Vin Diesel
Saw that on
as Bambi
YouTube.
and
Yeah.
Thumper. It's my favorite one of those.
Oh my god, it was so short, but it was just so silly. It is
I'm
like
like,
that.
yeah, I
That's
want.
fun. That's fun.
They're gonna pay
Yeah,
dearly.
dearly, with like a super serious face, like he just like dearly, like intensely. And he's like, it's hilarious because it's like it's so silly, but they like the actors took the role so seriously.
Yeah, that as soon as it was like mentioned, they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're down."
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Gotta catch my breath. Goodness. Whew.
I guess Fables is probably the closest to like a modern take, but it's also so dark and depressing. It's the bad part of the modern society that you don't want to like deal with.
Mm, that's fair. That's fair.
The good thing about Fables though is that the story, like the comics, did end, kind of like
Mm.
Invincible. Sometimes it's good if like a story doesn't go on forever and ever
Yeah,
and ever
sometimes
and
they end up
ever.
just adding a little too much, and that's understandable, you know? And, like, I get it. Like, I totally get it. Sometimes we just want the journeys to never end, the worlds and the characters we're attached to, but, you know, nothing lasts forever, and trying to, like, force it to continue, you can only think of so many things before
It
you just
reminds me of
start throwing stuff in there.
like the Dynasty Warriors games where it's based off the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's
Oh my
like
goodness,
there
yes.
there there are over like 20 different games of the same
Yeah,
book.
that is,
How many different times can we have this? It's like, no, it's fine.
yeah.
Stop at 7. Stop at 8. Those are the better ones. Don't play 9.
Just going too crazy. You gotta have a limit.
Um, and I'm thinking of like fairy tales and lore, like Japanese horror movies. Oh, you always
Oh
get
my
those
gosh,
like
yeah.
grudges and curses, and like the
Hmm.
ladies in the well, the girls like haunting the
Heck, even
bathroom.
like some modern games like Phasmo are referencing a lot of these things, like the Banshee and what was the other one? Ghost Watchers referenced like a
There
uh,
was it's the
like a
oh,
lot of
what's the
like
name of that
folklore
ghost?
type of things.
Yeah,
I
like the yaksha or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
There's like
Yeah, like there's like Onis and stuff like that, and like all this like
yeah.
mixed in stuff, which is like kind of cool to see. Like, even though it's a bit spooky, horror games can still be a fun adventure, but I find them a little more fun when I have someone to scream and laugh with me. I don't want to
Yeah.
do it alone. It's fun when I consider it nightmare training, but it's it's a little different when you're the target of the nightmare.
That's why you gotta play Fatal Frame. You have to get right up and close on that ghost. Says, hello, ghost, wanting to kill me. Let me get your good side.
Yeah.
Click, 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 click. Oh, it hurts. It hurts so much. The folklore editions. I do like the folklore editions, but it's always so silly. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, this
yeah.
this north eastern Asian ghost is haunting the suburbs in the middle of Chicago.
Choked on my
Ghost
drink.
Watchers added the Wendigo.
Yeah.
No, ever since people got camera phones, Bigfoot and the Wendigo aren't a big deal anymore. Those are fairy tales that have like went away with the advent of everyone having crystal clear video features.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now we have realized they were just very, very dirty homeless people in the forest. No, it's aliens are still cool. Are aliens considered fairy tales?
That's a really good question. I guess, like, if you consider science kind of magic, then sure. I mean, why not?
Science,
Science
science
is.
is pretty magicy.
Yes, I mean, if you think about it, science is modern magic, We're able to do things that, like, back in the day, they'd be like, you're a witch! Burn them!
Oh my god.
Like, you show them your cell phone and they're like, you're a witch! Into the lake with the brick! It's like, please no!
Let's be honest. We haven't really changed that much in regards to that.
Yeah,
It's
sadly.
oh,
But I mean, like
it
back then,
hurts.
they would really see it as magic. We take these things for granted, but we don't realize like sometimes how amazing the things we have are. Like the technology we have that we're able to use in like even in the ways like games and stuff. You think about how complicated that is, and we got these crazy interactive adventures on little cartridges, and I think that's kind of wild.
It's super crazy. Like, just 30 years ago, the Game Boy was the big thing. You had the big old brick, you had your big flat cartridges, you
Mm-hmm.
saw your green and dark green, and you had to think of the story kind of yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true, so true. And like now it's like just kind of so crazy. This just advanced so much in such a short time, and
Memory cards are so tiny, they're smaller than a ham ham.
yeah,
It's
they are.
nuts.
They're so small, especially those like micro ones, like the size of your fingernail. And it's like, but 30 years ago, the size of this would fill up an entire room.
Well, who was it? Like Bill Gates or someone said that, oh, yeah, you'll never need more than 32 megabytes of processing ever.
Oh no. Yeah, yeah. It's like well, buddy, welcome to the future. It kind of turned out wild. Welcome aboard. Jump on ship. There's lots of cool stuff to experience.
Oh, we weren't emotionally ready.
Yeah, that's fair. That is honest.
There we go. The future fairy tales will be us having all this great technology and us kind of like using it for really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
It's-
I like your reference before to Black Mirror. I feel like kinda, especially like the
Someone was just
warning
ahead of
type
the
fairy
time.
tales. Like this is a lesson learned kind of fairy tale.
Oh, yeah. It started off as fairy tales, then it turned to Twilight Zone, and then it turned to Black Mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, really, like I know one thing Disney was doing too is like the Once Upon a Time series. Like I don't know if you heard that one. They like
Once upon a time. Whatever
yeah.
happened to that?
It turned out really good. I found it really interesting. It was like a slightly different take, and they did kind of throw in a little bit of modernness with it. But it's just kind of cool to see that things based on fairy tales go on so long like that. I don't even think I finished that series in the end. I had too many things,
Oh,
not
okay.
enough time. But it like if I remember, that was like the highest rated show like for a long time. Like they made a lot of money off that, and it shows people care about these stories and these fairy tales and kind of want to like refresh and still explore adventures with them. So I thought that was kind of cool. They're just like, yeah, we've
Yeah.
done this, but you're doing it a little differently, and I'd like to experience that way too. It's just like you wouldn't want to eat like the same meal every day. You want to go on different types of adventures and have different experiences.
Got different flavors of Doritos.
Yes.
They're all good, but come on, sometimes you want the Cool Ranch. Your body won't like it afterwards, but you know that you'll have a good time.
The body
Ooh.
doesn't get a say in
It's-
it. That's the brain's decision.
So, when you were growing up, whenever it came to fairy tales, what level of degree did you get to receive them as far as content warning? And I guess like an example is like, so in your story of like the Red Riding Hood, like
Mhm.
whenever you were told it, did the hunter kill the wolf in that one? Did
Oh, so like
uh
which versions did I receive? Kind of.
yeah, like which versions? Because I remember when I was told Red Riding Hood, I was told that the wolf eats the grandma, but then
Yeah.
the hunter like cuts the wolf open and gets the grandma
Yeah.
out. And when I
Yeah,
look back
first
on it,
I heard.
I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
back then
pretty
it's like,
fucked.
yeah. Originally, it's like yeah, the wolf was bad, but it's like this is actually really messed up. It's like at first it's like I'm shocked I was told this as a child and not traumatized, but I guess because I was just small that it didn't really click in my brain.
I guess I was just thinking of it like Animaniac style.
Yeah.
It's-
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We just don't worry about it.
But yeah, see, so there was that one. Goldilocks, I was always told she ran away
Yeah.
after the bears got home.
Hmm.
What else? The pigs ran. No, actually, I was told both of the pigs ones, where like the pig brothers died, and then just the last one was left. And I also heard that
Pig
they would run
ones,
to the other ones.
I only got the happy ending one. I'm trying to think of some others that I might have. The mermaid one. I actually because I was into reading a lot. I actually read one of the darker versions of the Little Mermaid first. So with Disney's, it was kind of like, huh, that's a thing. It was just like such a stark difference. It's like my small brain enjoys the happy story more.
Yeah. That one is very, very tragic.
Yeah, like I can appreciate the storytelling either way, but it's just like sometimes my mind is like, I want to go to the happier place. Other times I'll be like, you know what? I want to go on an emotional experience, and get to have those like feelings and adventures, and okay, I'm okay with that. And some days I just like, no, I just want comfy.
I mean, but come on, like every fairy tale, of course, we know undoubtedly ends with a happily ever after,
Yes.
right?
But I mean, like, you think about it, a lot of older fairy tales kind of had a pattern, especially like the ones that Disney took on that, uh, something magical happens, people magically fall in love and all that other thing. And as much as like, I'm a big sucker for romance. Like sometimes it's like, you've known each other like 2 days, or like when
Cinderella, I hate to bring it to you, but the guy's kind of a loud snorer. He farts in his sleep. He's got ED. You're not gonna have a good time.
it's just like you don't really know the person enough yet, you have to like experience more together to really know if you're kind of a fit. And I think that sets like kind of like, I know it's like a short story and they have to like present it, within like 2 hours or whatever, but it's still like, I don't know, it's a
Oh,
little
oh man,
salty.
did you ever watch The Swan Princess?
Yes, yes, yeah,
I love the start where like the parents are
yeah,
trying to hook them up and they're spending all this time together forcefully,
yeah,
and then once she gets hot, he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, let's get married."
And
And
then
she's
she's like,
like,
why?
"Okay, why?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Cause you're banging hot, girl."
Yeah, like basically, it was awful. I remember it too because it's one of my favorite movies, actually. But it was like, he's, he's like, arrange the marriage, and she's like, oh, at first she's happy, and then she's like, oh wait, why? And it's just like, I love you. He said I love you, but then she's like, why? And he's like, you're beautiful, and she just looks at him and it's like, is that all? And it's like,
What else?
oh, what else
What else
is
needs to
there?
be?
Literally, the phrase is, what else is there? And like, literally, all the other characters like tear that guy apart afterwards, which was,
Oh man, you.
reasonable. It's like, why would you? In what world is this an okay thought?
Ah, I, I can't help but just laugh at just how, man, if there's anyone to drop the ball there.
It's like, dude, she loves you. Like, look at the way she's looking at you. And if you told her like I don't know, maybe he like panicked, but it was like, what the heck? It was just so
The
out of
villain
like,
is the best in that movie. I forget
yeah,
who the villain is. I know that they kidnap her and turn her into a swan to keep her there, but I forget why. I just remember the beginning. It's
Rothbart. Oh yeah, I remember him. He's like a spooky. He's able to like turn into a monster, and he wanted Odette to marry him so he could be king, but she refused. So he set a curse on
oh,
her. But he's like,
that
he's
one.
very
Okay.
dramatic and like feels very, selfish
He's
and
goofy. I'm
villainous.
gonna have to rewatch it because I need to see that. For some reason, like every time I try to remember him, I remember Rasputin from Anastasia
he, he
in my brain. My
he
brain just
is very
automatically just
fluffy
defaults
orange
that
hair. I
way.
don't know if that.
Ah, no. Now I just remember the guy from Frozen.
I just remember he's very dramatic and like, oh, I'm in control here, grumble, grumble, you do what I say, grumble, grumble, and then trying to do like epic cape flips and stuff, and he keeps like messing up on something. He's like trying to be like a like a badass, but he's not entirely at times.
I'm still learning this villainy part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, it's like, yeah, sorry, I just went straight to like the revenge thing before you when you rejected me, so I skipped like villainy 101 and I'm just kind of winging it here.
animated movies, first nice guy. He was like, come on, marry
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's painful. Yep,
The
that's
other
kind
guy won't appreciate you like I do. I'm going to turn you into a swan
of
because you
yeah.
said no.
Yeah, well, if I remember in that one, he didn't want to marry her because he loved her. He just wanted to marry her so he could be king. He just wanted to like just because she was the princess, he
Oh,
wanted to be
yeah.
king, and it was like, my dude.
Like the whole Prince of Persia thing. It's like, I'll throw the prince in the dungeon and I'll just marry the princess so I can be sultan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. It's like, oh, that's wild.
And then you get to run on a lot of walls and save the day.
Yeah, it's like sometimes with the villains in like older movies and stuff like that, I like sit there thinking, but why? Why would you do it that way? There are so many better ways to do that.
Jafar has a staff that can hypnotize people. Then why does he need the lamp? Oh, I love it. So many good times. A good villain, though, will sometimes make a good story, I have to say.
Yes, yes. I can completely agree with that. Like a good villain kind of brings it together because you need some kind of I find it like the most how to word that, the best kind of fairy tales and stories, you know, have something that you like the characters need to overcome, and a good villain can really pull that together and pull out the best of the other characters, like the protagonists in it, you know, like helping them grow.
Yeah.
So villains are kind of important to the story.
I feel like we don't get as many villains nowadays as we used to.
mm,
Nowadays they're just fighting like, like a force or the world or
yeah, yeah.
a big old spirit.
Mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
I get like Moana doesn't need a villain for her to grow.
Yeah, yeah. Like some of them don't need to, but if you think about it, there's at least always something that they need to overcome. There's still a conflict, you know, that they have to overcome, basically. And I think that's like in every kind of like story, even like those cozy farming games and stuff like that. A lot of them said it would be like, oh, you can help repair the town, or you know, make your grandpa proud on their farm. There's always something the character needs to overcome because we want that sense of progress in our stories, you know, to kind of feel like we're going somewhere, going along the journey instead of just, you know, like the roller coasters at a stop point. I know I want to go. Let
In
me
Harvest
go.
Moon, the true villain is poverty.
No.
Have I seen the train wreck that's the Thief and the Cobbler? Thief and the Cobbler.
Even the cobbler.
It sounds
I
familiar.
haven't, but that does sound interesting for sure. I have like so many things I gotta like write down later.
Okay, I've not seen that, but I have heard of it. It was a 1993 animated film. Way back in the day. Was it DreamWorks or was it... I can't tell which company it was. But, yeah, no, I need to watch it now, too.
There's so many
When I
things
hear
I want to
when I
rewatch
hear
and replay
Cobbler,
now.
when I hear Cobbler, I always think of Rumpelstiltskin. I don't know why. Good old Rumpelstiltskin. I think Shrek was the last time he was really used.
Yeah, I haven't. I think. Oh wait, I think they used him actually in that one series I mentioned, the Once Upon a
Oh,
Time
the Once
one.
Upon a Time?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, I can see that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's also that show with the twins that fight supernatural stuff.
Yes, I honestly I keep hearing about that one and I intend to look into it because I'm like
I
always
haven't
binge
watched it
watching
either.
all these stories and like if I don't feel up to playing like a game because sometimes my health is a little that way, that I'll like binge watch a bunch of like series about like fantasies and stories and interesting things, you know, to keep my brain going, and like I'm still going on a little bit of an adventure.
Yeah. Is it supernatural? Is supernatural what I'm thinking of?
uh Quite possibly.
Supernatural. TV show. Two Brothers. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's the one with the twins.
I'm not sure
Good
if they
times.
have
Good
it on
times.
any of the things I have, but I will have to look into it in the future. I keep
I'm
hearing
not sure where
really
you
good
can.
things about it.
I'm not sure where you can find anything to watch anymore. There are so many different streaming
Oh
services.
gosh, yeah, it's getting crazy. It's like I can't keep up with all this, please.
It's like can I just get like a full database of everything I want to watch for the price of $10 a month?
Yeah, no,
And then I
unfortunately.
and then I can. It's almost like I would like to make my own cable package. I don't want all of these other channels. It's like, oh, we're sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Now streaming services are the same thing,
Yeah, it is
except
true.
you have like 10 different companies saying that they're sorry.
Yeah, and it's like, hmm. little sussy there, gotta say, a little sussy.
It's by design.
It's by design. You're not wrong, though. You're not wrong.
Man, so what are some of your like your other like kind of like favorite like fairy tale games? Like, are there any that you usually like recommend to people to like check out?
Oh, I said the Alice Madness Returns from American McGee, fantastic. Really like that one. It's definitely a darker one, though. I also like trying to just think of ones that are like specific. Obviously, I like Disney Dreamlight Valley. That one's cozy and fun, and I like how they kind of integrate your character into the story a little bit, which is always
Yeah,
fun, you know. Um, hmm. Gosh, that's actually a hard question. Well, I know some of my favorite fairy tales, at least from when I was a kid. I loved Beauty and the Beast because I thought that was like
okay,
a really cool one. Um, they just had like a really sweet connection, and as I said, I'm a sucker
they
for
do.
romance, and so I was like,
Well,
yeah.
because they montage through a lot of it, but they do actually spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. Seeing love like beyond all the circumstances, and it's like, oh, I like that. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Well, as I said, one of the biggest games that I always play is like the Zelda series, and so they're kind of like vaguely based on like medieval times and those sort of things, and I find that really really fun. Actually, like they've brought a lot of that sort of thing into words. I swear my brain is working. It's bouncing around in there.
Yeah, like
It's coming.
Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah,
and Breath
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Wild. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just kind of really cool how they bring that forward, and it's like that's one of those series that always brings you on those adventures that you expect, these magical adventures, and that's kind of like what fairy tales just really are, these magical adventures, or maybe maybe we'll, as you said, maybe we'll start seeing some more modern, science is magic kind of angle.
yeah.
But yeah, Alice Madness Returns, Disney Dreamlight Valley. Um, hmm, trying to. Why does my brain never remember? It's like I know. I could
Shrek
probably.
Super Slam.
Oh my god. That works. That works. Yeah, we'll go with that. I guess it's just like.
I'll throw a couple out that I'll recommend. Some of them are on the picture down here. There's Child of Light by Ubisoft. It's a very very pretty like fairy tale game where you're like a young princess
Oh
who has to
yeah.
like save her kingdom with magic.
Ooh, I might look into
There's
that.
the liar princess and the fool and the blind king,
Mhm.
where the princess is actually like a werewolf,
Oh
and she cut the prince's eyes out on reflex because
goodness.
she didn't want him to see him, but
Mhm.
she has to also like guide him back to his kingdom because he's blind now,
I think I've
and
heard that
so they
one.
kind of go on an adventure together.
Mhm.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride
I
is such a
really
good
liked
fairy tale story.
Okami. Okami is really good. I loved Okami. Getting to
Okami is lovely and
yeah,
wonderful,
I just
and I definitely recommend all the Vanillaware games too. Odin
yeah, I'm
Sphere.
absolutely gonna be looking into those. I'm always looking for like fun, new experiences, new adventures to go on, and luckily you do not need to look very far because they're everywhere.
Yeah, Princess Bride's a good like fairy tale movie. My favorite Cinderella is Ever After, the live action one with what's her
Oh
name?
yeah, I actually like that. I think I know which one you're talking about, and I thought it was really cute.
Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh yeah, and the new Puss in Boots was like,
Oh,
I
I
think someone
heard
in the
it
chat said it
had like some
earlier.
really wonderful representation too of an anxiety disorder, which was like really interesting to see
Yeah,
in like the front media like that, because usually in like a lot of those popular, Disney or whatever else, they don't really show darker things like that, but it was really interesting to see that representation, and they did it in such a, respectful way that like
yeah.
I've
No,
heard
from
that
from
like
what I've heard, that movie is like
mhm.
way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Actually, like I want to watch it. I just haven't had it like a, you know how it is. Time be good luck trying to fit everything into your time.
Very much so. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then I guess The Witcher. The Witcher is a game where you fight fantasy stuff.
Yeah. Oh, maybe, technically, I'm really talking a little older here, but the game literally
Ooh, yes,
Fable 2, Fable 3.
that's what I was thinking of. That was the thing I was thinking of whenever my brain farted that big time. Because Fable 3, you have to like buy towns and stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
had this big old fancy life, and even like the art's very like Germanic,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fairy tale art style.
Yeah, and like a lot of the monsters and things are kind of inspired. Like there's werewolf type things with the Balverines, there's the banshees and stuff like Hazel. Yes, he loves Fable. Fable's like
He loves Fable.
loves it. Love is like an understatement. It's like I think he might feel stronger for that game than he feels for me.
Aw, everyone gets
No,
one.
no, no. Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one. I'll forgive you this time. No, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm fine with it. He actually introduced me to that game series, and I absolutely love it. It's so fun. I just love like the different kind of running around through the kingdoms and doing your stuff and visiting all these like villages and figuring out the
Yeah.
mystery.
And the combat's really fun too. You get to like build your character up with a whole bunch of cool like different
Yeah,
ways.
and like you could do the strength kind of like swordsman kind of thing, or you can decide to be a cool archer or get right into the
Or blow
magic.
everything up with magic. Boom, boom, boom,
I
boom, boom, boom,
it's
boom,
like
boom, boom.
every game that I can be a magic type character, I am a magic type character. I need it in my life. I want to be magic.
Just blow it up. Dragon slave.
Yeah. Usually, if I can, if it's the type of game that I can, I usually try to do more support magic if it's like a multiplayer type one. But even if it's like more single player, if there's like characters you can bring along to fight and stuff, I'll try to heal them. Like a Rune Factory. Rune Factory is a great one. One of my favorite stories.
Yes.
Such a good one. It has lots of those references to fables too, actually, and folklore. There's actually a lot of the bosses that are kind of based on Japanese folklore that are really interesting. I actually have the pretty Nari based fox mount, and she's like really pretty.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
very jealous.
yeah. So what was? I know I was going with something with that. Oh my god. I think I've just like been so nervous the whole time that I'm like my brain is like malfunctioning.
Nah, you've been doing great. We have definitely gotten the gambit and like just talking all about fairy tales.
Yes. Hey, you said you wanted a theme. I'm going for the theme. Going for the theme.
Lies of P. Lies of P. What is Lies of P?
Liza
Lies
P.
of P. Oh, it's at the Pinocchio game that looks kind of like Bloodborne.
Oh, I've heard about that. I love those like kind of darker puzzle games. I don't know if you've heard of or played Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2.
I
My
played Little Nightmares 1,
my
yes.
favorite horror game, actually, my absolute favorite horror game, because just somehow, despite no text on like pretty much anything, no voice acting, nothing, they managed to tell such a story just with the environment and the things you go through, and it's like, whew, wow.
Yes, it's very good at that.
It's very good at that, and I was like, whoa. I didn't think a game using like no text and no nothing like this would be able to like tell such a like a clear story, just through what they have you do in it. That's actually really interesting. Interesting way of like telling the story. I thought that was really unique, which is why I like it so much.
Heck yeah. All right, well, we are at that point, so let us take a question from the audience. Audience, if you have a question for me or for Lumi or just in regards about anything, feel free to drop it into the chat and we will answer it for you to the best of our ability. I don't have lotto numbers
Yeah, no.
that I'm willing to share. The answer is 9. I'm gonna tell you where or when it is, but there will be a 9. Lumi, how are you such a cutie? Aspiring minds want to know.
No. No, please, please don't bully me. On someone else's stream, I'm gonna die. I'm just me.
That is the answer. She almost dies.
Yeah. I'm just me having fun, trying to, laugh and smile and maybe, bringing people along for that journey.
What is my favorite Eastern folklore?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Eastern.
Honestly, like I probably for me the Kaguya story really sticks with me. Like it's such a sad story, that she wanted to, experience life like that, and things got mixed up and understanding on what she wanted of compared to what was expected, and it was a tragic tale, but like there was like such love there too between her and her adoptive parents in that, and that was just like so sweet to me, and it was like I cried a lot. I cry like every time. I really like watching the iteration of that Studio Ghibli did in like that painterly style and everything. It was just like that was beautiful. Love that.
Tokinawa in the anime is kind of like a modern, kind of almost. There's a lot of allusions to Princess Kaguya in regards to the moon girl falling in love.
Yes.
But it's also very awkward and sweet. I'm a big fan of the story of Izanagi and Izanami.
Yeah.
How the gods betrayed them and locked her away. He went to save her, but then looked back and she was gone.
Yeah.
Then his son blamed him for it, and it's so tragic. It's just, it's the fault. It's one of those things where like I love seeing that the gods have the faults that like all men have, and with their own like pride and ego
like,
and uncertainty.
No one is perfect, and that's a comforting thought in a way, Is there a fable you'd like to be made into a movie today?
Emperor's New Clothes.
Honestly,
my favorite.
Honestly, that is a really tough question. There's just so many, good ones, and a lot of them have been made already. Can it be from like anything?
The Emperor's New Clothes with Trump, where like this person comes and pretends that he has the finest quilts and suits known to man, but that only smart people can truly see it. If you see nothing, then you are but a fool. It writes itself. Come on.
Honestly, I'm just like having a major like a brain fart on the fable thing, but I can't answer the other question of would you prefer a happy ending or a strong tragic lesson to be learned at the end of a story. I really prefer happy endings, but I'm also like accepting of the strong tragic lessons because sometimes life is like that, and seeing that in our fairy tales and stories is kind of comforting. As I said, just like that sort of stuff happens even in stories and fairy tales that things can end sadly, but we learn from them, we grow, and that sort of thing. But of course I'm a sucker, and I'm like most of the time I just want everybody to be happy.
I just want the happy endings because I'm selfish. I don't want to be sad.
I don't ever want like a sad ending, but like I'm accepting of them because that's the writer's vision for that story, and I want to experience their vision, rather than like conform it to my own. That's the whole point of exploring and like absorbing fairy tale. I call it absorbing, like when you get right deep into a book or a game and just your whole brain is just
I think I never minded it so much, but then I watched 5 centimeters per second, and then I'm like, I never want a sad ending in a movie ever again.
Gosh, yeah. Like I said, I reluctantly accept it because it's like I understand your vision, but I still wish everybody could be happy.
Do I have a favorite trope in fables? My favorite trope is it's not. Oh, I'll do my my least favorite trope is the town people being so gullible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my favorite one is like when people figure out, that that despite feeling alone, that they were like there, like they had people around them the whole time, and they just didn't quite realize. And when they do, it's just that sense of relief and joy that they feel, that hey, I was loved all along. And I think that's a really, really cute trope.
Oh, wait. My favorite is when the MacGuffin that's supposed to be super important wasn't necessary at all.
Oh no.
Like
Yeah,
Beauty and the
yeah.
Beast says, like, oh, the rose died. It's like, oh, well, the rose wasn't important. It was the love that was important.
Yeah.
The love was stronger than magic.
Yeah, I like that trope too. Actually, the you think it's that thing that'll save everybody, but it's love or friendship, and those
And
pure
everyone's
emotions.
fighting over it and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like, no,
yeah. And it's like,
but they are
no,
all gullible.
yeah, you gotta all get along. Like, come on. They are gullible, yeah.
Yeah, I know. They do a whole song at the start of Beauty and the Beast about how they're gullible. I get it.
Yeah.
They're dumb. They're dumb. It's France, and everyone dies at the age of 30. I get it.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
Time was tough back then.
it
No one
was.
could read. Lumi, tell everyone what you have planned on for streams for the rest of the week.
I am probably just gonna keep being absorbed into Zelda Tears of the Kingdom because I can't stop. It has me in its grip. Please help me. I mean, I'm enjoying that game so much. It's great. I
There you
am
go.
actually.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Dun, 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 dun,
There we go. Well, everyone, make sure to follow and give her a watch. As for tonight, we'll be doing some Sly 4. We'll be playing that some more. So I hope everyone can look forward to that. Y'all are going strong in these questions. Where are y'all in the all? I need y'all both to show up to all the other talk shows.
Yeah.
Y'all got the.
Thank you so much for having me along, and thank you to everyone who came and visited. It was so nice to hang out with you all, and thank you again for having me along, Zarataro. I appreciate it and had lots and lots of fun.
Thank you. It was a blast having you. And I'll also use today to announce that I'm going to be introducing something new here soon. I'll do a big announcement on Twitter next week. But just to give a heads up, I'm going to be doing a charity stream in July.
Oh, we do love charity. You gotta check
It's
that
gonna
out,
be
guys.
called. It's going to be called Yo, You Like Charity, and we will be donating to the American Heart Association.
Oh, wonderful. Definitely, I will
So
share
there-
that when I see it too.
Thank you. So there will be more news coming out for that later. But yes, thank you all for coming by to watch. We'll do a quiet raid to someone just to show them some love and to wish them a good stream. But I hope everyone has a good evening. And if I see y'all later, then I will be very happy. But y'all take care. Bye, Q.